Okay, everyone. Hello. Lovely to have you with me. It's, had to check there, Wednesday today, and we're here with Practical CBT once again. Quick practical workouts for your mental health. A few things for us to cover today in your daily Celtic roundup. We are rapidly approaching the second match of the Wilfried Nancy regime. It's a tough one as well tomorrow against the might of Roma. We'll discuss that a little bit later on. Got a few other things to cover first though. Let's do it. Just kicking off with some comments that came out in the media late last night from Arne Engels, speaking about his lack of playing time effectively this season under Brendan Rodgers. Now, Engels started just 6 of the 16 competitive matches that we played under Brendan Rodgers this season. However, in the 9 games since our former leader departed, he's started 8 of those. So quite a big change there from Rodgers being there to Rodgers not being there. And speaking to the media, Engels not shying away from the fact that it was a pretty frustrating period for him. Big games coming around at the start of this season and him not being in the starting lineup. And he actually revealed that he'd had conversations with Brendan Rodgers about that. He says, obviously you go and ask why you're not playing. We spoke about it and we had really good chats. He gave his clear opinion and it was up to me to just get on with it and work hard for myself and work hard for the team. It was just about small details. Every manager has their own way of thinking and their own way of putting the players on the pitch. Sometimes you're not in that plan and then you need to deal with it and just work hard to become part of that plan. That's what I did. I worked really hard behind the scenes and I also got my opportunities. Engels says that he also spoke to Callum McGregor to, I think, find out maybe why he wasn't playing and basically ask, what can I be doing better here? Which, again, just emphasises the influence that Callum McGregor has on or in that dressing room. He also, in his quote, spoke about the pressure of playing for Celtic, the fact that you can play well in midweek, and that's fine, but you need to go and back it up and play well again a few days later. So he's well aware of everything. He's well aware of who he's playing for and the pressure of that. He's been here 18 months now. Yeah, I've always been a bit of a kind of defender of Engels, I think. I just think it's reaching that point where we really need to see it consistently from him. And I'm really hoping that Wilfried Nancy's coming in at the perfect time for Engels in his career. But he was really poor on Sunday. The quality of his passing was just not there at all. The amount of times he gave the ball away, and he wasn't the only one. But I just think, and I went well in depth in this yesterday, so I'm not going to do it again. But it's almost like our individual failings that are costing us at the moment, rather than the general team, if that makes sense. I felt like the system worked quite well in that first half. We got into good areas and it was guys like Engels just letting us down with his final pass, his final cross or his final shot. I mean, he blazed one over the bar in the first half. He had that header in the second half that he kind of has to score. And I guess that's a big part of it with Engels as well. Can he be a guy who piles in with more goals? I was actually looking back, just researching, his goal record at Celtic, and he scored 12 goals since signing for us, which, you would probably want to be a bit higher. The fact that 9 of those 12 have come from the penalty spot obviously means that 3 have come from open play, and 3 goals in 18 months from open play, nowhere near good enough for Arne Engels. So he really has to be, adding more goals to his game, even if you're viewing him as a bit of a deeper player, and I think he will be that deeper player alongside Callum McGregor under Nancy. He still needs to be, piling in with more goals. You think of the amount of goals Callum McGregor scored from open play in that same period, and Rio Hatate and Benji Nigren, who I'm not massively convinced by so far, but he's probably scored, close to Engels' total just this season. So I mean, to be fair, again, I think he's aware of that, Arne Engels. He mentioned, Gavin Strachan and also Sean Maloney as guys who are speaking to him and saying you need to get on the end of things in the box and be scoring more goals. So, I don't know how you all feel with Arne Engels. He's always a pretty divisive figure because we spent all that money and people, I think, at times unfairly use it to measure him. But yeah, come on, let's see it consistently. We know it's there. He's clearly, got quality to have been playing at such a high level in the Bundesliga so early in his career and earn the move to Celtic and be a part of the Belgium setup up until about a year ago. Can we see it under Wilfried Nancy? Just switching it up a little bit, because I think you'll all agree in life it's good to have a laugh from time to time. So step up Ryan Stevenson yesterday, the former Hearts, former Ayr United, number of other clubs as well. And he joining the crowd of people in Scottish football, laying into our manager, Wilfried Nancy, who, as a reminder, everyone, has been in the job how long? Is it 3 or 4 months? Several years? No, 5 days. Sorry for shouting if you're driving or whatever. 5 days Wilfried Nancy's been in the job. And we're getting stuff like this. I'm just actually going to read this directly from the Daily Record's website, because it is amusing. It's very amusing. And you're heading for a good time when you get a headline like this. Hearts icon launches incredible attack on Celtic boss Wilfried Nancy and tells him to ditch his green trainers. Oh yes, we are in for a treat here. Keith Jackson as well, just adding to everything here. Right, here goes. Ryan Stevenson has warned Wilfried Nancy to ditch his green trainers and tactics board if he wants to be taken seriously as Celtic's new manager. In a blistering column for Record Sport, former Hearts star Stevenson insists the Frenchman made the worst possible debut on Sunday. Get to the good stuff. Former MLS coach Nancy took to the pitch in Celtic-coloured Adidas shoes ahead of kick-off before grappling with a mini tactics board. Grappling? Do me a favour. During the second half, as the visitors romped towards a 2-1 win, blah, blah, blah. And hard-hitting Steve-O, always love a nickname, Boydie, Steve-O, has urged the new man to ditch the gimmicks immediately or risk damaging his own reputation beyond all repair. The irony. Stevenson said, there's a certain DNA to clubs like Celtic, so when a new manager arrives and starts pulling out tactics boards and green trainers, you have to ask yourself, what are we actually dealing with here? Couldn't agree more. When I saw those green trainers, I was just thinking this is all over here. No disrespect to the MLS, as it's a good league and a decent standard. I get all that. But this is Celtic Football Club we're talking about. It's a worldwide institution. I'm not even a Celtic fan, but I'm absolutely raging about what I've seen from Nancy in his first day in the job. First day. If he doesn't learn quickly and stop making the same mistakes, then I'm afraid this job is going to eat him up and spit him back out before he even knows it. The vibe I'm getting is that this simply is not going to work. He continues, there's a photo doing the rounds from the second half which sums it up perfectly. Nancy is standing with his little tactics board, trying to explain something to Callum McGregor. Derek is in the background with a look on his face which almost screams, what the hell is this guy all about? It's a very fair point. Yeah, very fair point. Except it's not Callum McGregor he's standing next to, it's Kieran Tierney. And by the way, can I just point out, Kieran Tierney actually scored several minutes after this, so maybe the tactical advice was half decent. So I'm away for a cool down, everyone. Hey, that's me back. What a load of nonsense! I guess as a Brian Lemon character once said, well, he got a reaction out of me. Got to give him that. Yeah. Right, going to switch things up onto much more important stuff. A very different note here. I just want to mention that the Green Brigade's annual food bag collection, of which we shared some images taken by Gio from the weekend. Pretty tough conditions with the weather, but still a great turnout and great donations there. The Green Brigade have shared that over £20,000 were raised in cash donations that will be distributed in the coming days. On top of that, 8 vans of food have been distributed to various food banks. So yeah, incredible work there. The very definition of Celtic, I would say. And well done to everyone who was involved, everyone who donated. Incredible and very valuable at this time of the year. Just finally today, everyone, and we do face Associazione Sportiva Roma tomorrow night in our, what is it, sixth Europa League game? Yeah. And it's going to be a test. You might know a bit about Roma, but I wanted to find out more. So earlier today, I spoke to Killian, who is a teenage Celtic fan who has a really horrible life out in Rome. I mean, that must be such a tough city to grow up in Italy, and enjoy all the great weather and amazing cuisine and fluent Italian and loads of other things. Anyway, sorry, I'm off on a tangent again. I spoke to Killian about Celtic versus Roma to get a bit of an insight. I want to say a big thanks to Perth Paul and also Killian's dad, Michael, for setting this up. Here you go. You're a big Celtic fan who's grown up in Rome, and you followed Roma as well as a result. First of all, tell us a little bit about your story. You've lived in Italy your whole life.
Yeah, whole life. Bilingual, speak both Italian and English fluently. I've just a regular Italian lad, just complain about everything, do nothing about it, eat lots of pasta, all that.
Yeah, that's really interesting though. So you're looking at the game tomorrow night. Would you be, and it might be obvious given what you're wearing, but would you be supporting Celtic or Roma?
Definitely Celtic. Yeah, definitely Celtic.
Very interesting. Right, so tell us a little bit about Roma then. So they're managed now by Piero Gasperini these days. He's in his first season, and we came up against his Atalanta side last season. People may remember. How have things gone for him in his first season?
Well, up until recently, they were going very well, actually, because they were joint top with a few other teams. But in the last two games against Napoli and Cagliari, the performances have gone downhill a little bit. Against Napoli, it was very cagey, not very many chances on either end. And obviously, Napoli being the champions, it was always going to be a tough game. But against Cagliari, who are a mid-table, maybe lower-table team, I'm sure their fans are expecting a lot better, considering that they're fighting for a top spot. It was a very bad performance against Cagliari, not only having 2 shots on goal and just a very poor performance in all.
Yeah, because I mean, you'll know, like the last team we played in the Europa League was Feyenoord, and they're clearly quite a big club like Roma, but they were struggling a bit coming into the game as well. I'm not saying that Roma are at the same level, but is there some kind of questions in Italy about how Roma are playing at the moment, given that they've lost their last 2 and not even scored?
And there have been questions going on since the start of the season. Everyone was saying that at some point Roma were going to have a big dip in form and drop quite a few points. But up until this point, they've just been going, not losing. But their weak point, I'd say, is in the forward areas. Despite the fact that they have Evan Ferguson, who I rate quite a lot as a player, he's just not managed to quite hit the heights that everyone was expecting of him.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about him, because I was reading that he's, it's going so badly that he could potentially go back to Brighton in January.
Yeah, he could. He's only scored once against Cremonese in all the time he's played here. And despite the fact that he's not getting much service, the Roma fans expect a lot more from him.
So is there a kind of an obvious issue there? Because he was quite highly rated a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it could be the fact that he might not fit into Gasperini's system, or maybe it's just a team that doesn't. Maybe it's the environment that doesn't work, or maybe it's just one of those cases of it just not working out between a club and a player.
So he's, I think, been coming off the bench quite a lot recently, so we might still see him off the bench. In terms of, like, I'm looking at Roma's squad here, and there's a few names people will know from years gone by. Stefan El Shaarawy, God knows what age is he at the moment. He's still only 33, which is a bit ridiculous given how long he's been around. They've got Leon Bailey, who's on loan from Aston Villa. They've got Costa Simicas on loan from Liverpool. Artem Dovbyk, the Ukrainian striker, I think is going to miss this game. I think he's injured.
He's injured currently, yeah.
Yeah, and Paulo Dybala, people will know as well. He might well play. Angelino, probably another one people will know from his time in England. Who would you pick out as their key players for this game?
Definitely Dybala. He just creates so much for them, despite the fact that they're not able to finish it a lot of the time. He's just such a player full of quality, and he makes all the chances for them pretty much. Another player that I would like to talk about is Matthias Sule, who scored against Rangers actually when they played in the Europa League. He's also a sort of creative player, likes to cut inside and have a shot. He's very skillful, a little bit like Jota, for example. And him and Dybala formed a good partnership.
Yeah, he's so they're both Argentinian. I don't think Sula's been capped fully by Argentina, but he's certainly played. But they've got quite a few recognisable players. I mean, do you think Celtic have got their work cut out in this game, or do you think Roma are beatable?
I'm not sure about beatable because their back line is very, very strong. I think that their keeper Vilar is probably one of the best in the world at the moment.
Really?
And their three defenders they play three at the back. They're very strong, very physical opponents to play against. But as you mentioned before, they're struggling in the forward areas. They sometimes play with a false nine, his natural position would be attacking midfielder. So they're really struggling at the moment up front.
I mean, just under Gasperini, just remind us, like, what is the game style like under Gasperini? It's quite kind of high intensity football from my memory.
Yes, it is very high intensity. They like to use their wing backs a lot. They give them ball and get and whip lots of crosses in, but they also like to hit a long ball up from the keeper, which could benefit us with Trusty and Skills being very good in the air.
Yeah, I mean, because we're playing a back three at the moment under Wilfried Nancy, so it's going to be interesting if both teams have that set up, how that kind of plays. It could be quite an end-to-end match. I'm just looking at kind of team news as well. I think the Brazilian wing-back Wesley should be back for this game, apparently, with Dovbyk out. It could be either Dybala or Baldanzi, who may start as a false nine. What are their strengths as a team, would you say?
Probably their physicality. They're good in set pieces, and they've got strength in the wide areas. So got to watch out for that. Yeah.
Weaknesses.
Weaknesses, as I said before, the key pass or the end product is definitely their weakness.
Okay. So yeah, that should be an interesting game. How do you think it's going to go? And are they saying anything in Italy about this match?
A lot of Roma fans are a little bit confident. Obviously, they've got lots of respect for Celtic as a club, and but they're quite confident. At least the ones that I've heard, that they'll manage to come away with the result.
Excellent. And yeah, Killian, thanks so much. I know you're staying up late. You're still at school, so we really appreciate you giving up some time. Yeah. And
I like an early bedtime like Stevie.
You got to dig in at Stevie. Brilliant. You're welcome back anytime. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Hamish.
Right, I'm out of here, everyone. Good news or bad news for you is that I'll be back this time tomorrow. We'll have some stuff to chat about, obviously day of the game. Later today we'll have Wilfried Nancy's press conference. I hope someone asks him about the shoes, really get to the important stuff. So we'll have stuff to go over there. I can do a predicted 11. We might look into Roma a bit more, as well as any other news that comes up between now and then. So it should be a busy video tomorrow. Please join me for that. Also, if you do feel ever so slightly shortchanged by this video, we did have the latest Celtic Way Weekly going out yesterday on the Celtic Ways channel. That was with my very close friend, John McGinley. getting a bit weird now. But he, yeah, talking a lot of sense as always. John and me kind of doing a lot of nodding along. So check that out, and yeah, over and out.